Well, gentlemen, it appears we got a phone call, and I just want to listen to it really quickly before we start really recording.
Unconventional,
Hey,
but let's do
co-pilot,
it.
it's your favorite past guest, JW Crump,
Crump?
and I want the three of you to give me your straight opinion on mid-century modern. I've really enjoyed it, but I've had friends that say, oh, no, the live studio audience sitcom is dead. I've had people who've liked it. I've personally really enjoyed it, but I'd love to see how the three of you feel about the pilot.
Well,
Yeah.
JW, I think it is our duty as three straight white men to talk a little bit more about mid-century modern.
I can't believe that phone in the back seat worked.
Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License with service to Palm Springs. We ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember, currently, we are looking for a Matt Bomer. Matt Bomer. Matt Bomer, will you please ring your call button so we can find you? Welcome to the TV Pilot's License. My name is Jeff Kurbis, joined by Rich Inman and Max Singer. How you boys doing today?
I'm just relieved we flew into Palm Springs. I am not dealing with traffic on the 10 this time of day.
Oh my God, Rich, how are you?
Oh, it's a pod. It's a pretty good pod. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. Well, gentlemen, we got an in-flight question, and the in-flight question was, can we talk more about mid-century modern, which you can find on Hulu if you want to watch before you listen, but I think we have to oblige. But before we do so, we have a lot of new folks who are subscribed to the TV Pilot's License. So for those who are here for the first time, thank you. For those who have been here and are frequent flyers, also thank you. But Max, can you tell folks what this is all about?
Yeah, if you're a frequent flyer, we check your bag for free. Everyone else, it's $70 now. Here at TV Pilot's License,
TV
we
Pilot's
break down
License credit
analyze.
card.
Don't do bits during my intro.
It's free. It's
Stop
free
doing
bits,
bits.
goddammit. It's free bits, damn
Yeah,
it.
like every bit.
I'm
all
a
the
free bits,
yeah,
baby.
The bit. Max?
Rich, am I good?
Yeah.
Here at TV Pilot's License, we break down and analyze the pilot episodes of some of TV's most famous, or in some cases, infamous shows. We learn more about how these shows came to be and were originally made, if they're effective pilot episodes and making us want to watch more if they can be made today. Go back and stream our old episodes from wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok to see our smiling faces. And if it is your first time flying with us, then welcome aboard.
And Rich, what is your question of the week?
Thanks for subscribing. Okay. I gotta know, and boy, this is the most controversial question I've ever put in the group chat. Because this show is essentially, and was probably pitched as such, we'll find out from Max in a second, it's Golden Girls, but for gay men. I want to know, in your women of a certain age scenario, this is a hypothetical. This is, let's just say we are these three main characters.
Sure.
What is your ideal situation? And Jeff requested I go first, but is that still how you feel?
Yeah, I think you should still go first.
Okay, yeah. This is not me saying that my two co-pilots will at one point be single or dealing with a widower situation. That's not what I'm saying. This is, personally, I think, big house south of France. It's got to be somewhere that's pastoral. It's got to be somewhere where we can say, like, oh my God, the bread is just so different here, over and over again. and yeah, it's the three of us. It's probably some of our comedy friends. It's probably some of our like college friends. It's a big compound in southern France. That's what I'm feeling.
Max, what about yourself?
I am thinking home, Hudson Valley of New York.
Oh.
I am close enough to get into the city, when those cravings strike, when we need a little bit of that culture, maybe a little trip to Barney Greengrass. But it is me, and it is, my BFF, older lady roommate, and we're making soups with ingredients from the farmers markets. We're watching game shows. Honestly, the day-to-day is not that different from what I do now at 33. And we're living a nice, quiet life, checking out foliage in the Hudson River Valley.
Yeah, Max is going to start saving up for when we have like Game Show Network Plus on Roku.
So I was thinking about this, and once Rich clarified that I'm not outing myself for divorce, I thought about this a little bit more, and I
immediately went there too.
Yeah, I immediately was just like, oh God, why is he doing this to me and just me? But
just you.
the more that I thought about it, I thought about the friend scenario of having two apartments that are across from each other that you can still have that separate space, because like sometimes having a roommate is great 85% of the time. There's that 15%
Generous.
where they want to just like watch TV till 2 a.m. and you're trying to go to sleep, or hypothetically they're singing karaoke till 3:30 in the morning, and then like you're just trying to go to sleep more than anything and they're scream singing. That's not about anything in particular, but I would say that I love the idea of having a shared space, very similar to our fraternity house, but separate rooms, because sometimes I need good alone time and my own kitchen, so that I can cook what I want in there. But
I love it.
Rich, thank you so much for your question of the week. Let's talk a little bit more about mid-century modern. But before we do so, a quick synopsis. 3 gay best friends of a certain age, after an unexpected death, move in together in Palm Springs. Living with the wealthiest friend's mother, they navigate their golden years as a chosen family, supporting each other through life's challenges. That's very, very descriptive of what we watched today. Very detailed as well. But Max, I'd like to hear a little bit more about how this show got made.
Today, we are talking about the pilot episode of Mid-Century Modern titled By George, which originally aired on March 28th, 2025 on Hulu. We're talking about the show's creative team of Max Mutchnik and David Kohan a little bit. If these names are familiar, they are the creative team behind Will and Grace, a show we have covered here on TV Pilot's License. So for all things Will and Grace and everything leading up to it, check out that episode for Kohan and Mutchnik fun facts. In the years following Will and Grace, but before the revival, Kohan and Mutchnik created comedies including Shit My Dad Says, Partners, and Clipped, the latter being a barbershop comedy, not the LA Clippers drama from FX last year.
Oh, damn.
Because Jeff was going to freak out if I were like, the guys who did Will and Grace wrote Clipped.
How have we not done Clipped yet is what I'm thinking to myself. We'll do it eventually.
We're going to get the right
In an interview, Mutchnik says the seeds of this show began during the pandemic when he would take neighborhood walks with friend and neighbor Matt Bomer. Bomer pitched the idea of a comedy set in the Wilton Manors neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale. The concept was retooled to Palm Springs because the writers knew the town and had experience through friends and their own lives. When the opportunity came to develop the comedy at a streamer, Kohan and Mutchnik were open to leave their network roots because it opened them up to new content and jokes they couldn't get away with on network TV. Once the idea was sold, development moved quickly on Mid-Century Modern. 2 months later, a pilot was greenlit, and just 4 weeks after that, it was filmed in front of a live studio audience with TVPL legend. Give it up for James Jimmy Burrows handling today's directing duties.
My dog.
A series order quickly followed and marks Hulu's second attempt at Multicam following How I Met Your Father. The entire season premiered at once on March 28th and is available to watch now.
All right. Well, let's dive in. First, one, I did not expect to hear Wilton Manors come up because that's literally like 2 miles away from my high school growing up, which is insane.
Oh, Jeff, I went to a high school where everyone's a senior, I guess.
Yeah, everyone was a senior except for me. But let's dive in. And why is this day different than any other day? We have a funeral in this instance. And, you know, I never thought I would chuckle as much in a funeral as this one, but we have to give it up for our two Nathans, Nathan Lane and Nathan Lee Graham, absolutely murdering this scene and setting an immediate tone of this is going to be really funny. There's going to be a lot of gay humor, and if you can get on board with that, you're going to have a good time, I think.
I think it's pretty easy to get on board with. I think, like, especially after Will and Grace, these jokes are pretty tame societally now.
Sure.
And I'm pretty stoked on that. What it did feel like was a big ol' hug, seeing this type of format again. It is. I did not watch How I Met Your Father, but it is very, very nice to see some people trying this format again. And I'm so glad that they even thought to greenlight this.
It is an art to do multicam properly, and to see 3 main actors and a supporting actress in this series who are all Broadway veterans, are all theater people. They just hit the beats. They play to the back of the house. They do all of the things that Multicam should do well. And just seeing the two Nathans up top and the way that they use their faces, the amount of physical comedy, the amount of prop comedy in this. We get downright prop comedy in this funeral scene. And I pointed to my screen and said, prop comedy. And I was so appreciative for it.
And that was Natalie's first words.
Yeah. Oh,
Prop
absolutely. Those are my daughter's first words.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is such a nice way to start. And I like Rich, although the jokes are pretty tame in comparison to where we were when Will and Grace came on the air, right, as a society, I think there are some zingers in this show. You can tell that the writing room was just like, oh, I've had this one for years and I've been waiting for the perfect moment. Like the you don't look sad, you look like a reluctant bottom line. I was like, someone said that to someone and was just like, I need to keep this forever, and then I'll have the moment where Nathan Lane is at my whim to say what I want to say.
Yeah, this is, and I mean this with no shade at all. There's no one in this writing room under 45.
Mm-hmm.
I think Matt Bomer might be younger than the entire writing room. Again, no shade. No shade.
Surprisingly, Matt Bomer, 47 years old, even though he looks younger than most of us.
That's right. Yeah, I the joke writing is exceptional. We're going to get into it more, but I mean, there's what can you say more about this than like Nathan Lane delivering strong, like just overall strong, like multicam jokes back of the house. And yeah, I don't know. What did you guys, do you guys feel like anything? Did you feel any like emotions coming up of like how the TV used to watch when you were kids, when Friends was popular, when Frasier or Mad About You or anything like that came on?
I think for me, it took a moment to adjust to this many jokes per minute again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the only other show that I think I've watched the last couple of years where I said that about is Girls 5 Eva, but that is still that's a very, very fast type of, Tina Fey, Robert Carlock, single cam, much more the vein of 30 Rock than this kind of wide, broad, multicam style. But it was fascinating just how many jokes per minute they cram in. And there's such a rhythm to it. There's such movement. It's so musical in a way where it's three people standing over a casket saying, will we ever smile again? And like a hot person walks past them and their heads all turn in unison. And there's like this beat and this rhythm that is fun. You get Matt Bomer talking about an incident involving an emotional support dog and a chicken on a flight, and then he proceeds to blow chicken feathers out of a handkerchief. That man is so attractive. He is so picture perfect, and we have him blowing chicken feathers out of a handkerchief for comedic amusement. It's not fair, the rhythm of this show.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you brought that up, Max, because I think one of the things that impressed me the most at the start of this is it could have very easily just been both of our Nathans and Matt Bomer all there together at once. Mm-hmm. Immediately at the start, we have this great rhythm between Nathan Lane and Nathan Graham Lee or Nathan Lee Graham, excuse me, that was very much, you didn't almost want to interrupt it. And when Matt Bomer entered the scene, I was like, I know they nailed this, but I want to see how they nailed it. And there's very much defined chemistry and defined roles of these characters just after the cold open of this pilot. And that left me being like, okay, cool. Let's see how they flesh out these characters a little bit, because we just can't have Matt Bomer be in this. I keep on wanting to say something else. We can't just have.
Say what?
What do you
Say
want
what,
to say?
Boner
What do you
alert.
wanna say?
But we can't just have him be airline attendant. It's amazing some of the lines that they say in this. And I want to talk about we're not going to just talk point by point of this pilot. I think that does this pilot a bit of a disservice, in all honesty. But I do want to talk about this jazzy title card that we get. And Max, I literally wrote in my notes, I was like, there's a jazzy title card, and Max Singer is swooning in this moment.
you should be welcomed into a show. You know, Broadway musicals have overtures. There's an expectation of somebody that should set the scene for you. And I think that this show is effective in using its musicality to its advantage. And music is used in a lot of different ways, from the title card to the fact that we have a series of, you know, buttoned dance breaks in this. It just knows how to use it as a tool in its tool belt really effectively. And I haven't seen that a lot in comedies. It's just that thing of like when TV just feels like TV.
Yeah.
This just feels like TV.
Yeah.
Rich, go ahead.
There was something I noticed too about like, and this is like also a stylistic choice, or like, you know, kind of getting pulled back into the joke per minute feeling of it, is that the extras really matter in shows like this. You like the hot guy walking by, the person at the funeral who's bringing them toward the casket and everything. Like the extras actually feel really part of the scene, and way more so than what a single cam does.
Yeah,
and that was cool to watch.
This is one of the first times that I've seen a streamer do a multicam, and I'm like, oh, they really tried to do it, right? Because we've had, Max, you mentioned How I Met Your Father as that attempted thing, but the other ones that I remember is there was this point in time where Netflix was like, we're bringing back the multicam. We're going to try like every single idea that we have. Like, if you have a multicam idea, we're going to greenlight it at Netflix. And none of them really stuck around, other than maybe that 70s show or that 90s show when they...
I'd say One Day at a Time, and having Norman Lear on board for that helped as well.
But that's the thing. This is one where you can tell they invested in folks who had not only a history in that, but like when you get Jimmy fucking Burrows to do your pilot, direct your pilot, you're serious about it being successful. You're not just getting any Joe Schmo to do it. You're getting probably like the creator of the multicam pilot to do your pilot.
The man who helmed Mulaney.
Yeah. But that's an important distinction too, is that he directs the entire season. It is which is not something that he had done through his heyday of the 80s and 90s. You know, he really only stuck around for maybe, I want to say, half the first season of Will and Grace. He just did the Friends pilot. There's a bunch of others in there, but it was mainly just the pilot.
Well, I saw he's a producer on this as well, so he's got real skin in the game with how this show is going to work.
You know who else is a producer? This is a secret Ryan Murphy pilot as well. So Ryan Murphy snuck in here, and he just wants to keep on being on TVPO.
Guys,
this is his 14th show of the year.
I'm torn. I'm torn about something as we get into this and talking about multicam and talking about streamers, because I respect Kohan and Mutchnik saying that they wanted to have the freedom to work outside of network confines, to make the jokes they wanted, have the content they wanted. But damn, if I don't want to see this in a Wednesday night block where it's like 8 o'clock, Abbott Elementary, 8:30 Shifting Gears, 9 o'clock The Connors, 9:30 Mid-Century Modern, and I only watch one of those shows that I listed, mind you.
I do think you will probably get that in very
give it 2 months.
Due time.
Yeah. Give it. June's a tired month, so give it June.
But you drop this entire thing at the same time, and the way we're talking about these beats, these conversations, don't you get that feeling of like, I wish that I could talk to someone about the jokes, about these things that I saw, and then go back a week later and talk about that more? I do feel like the Hulu release does this show a disservice somewhat.
And you know what else the Hulu release does a disservice on? If you have Hulu without ads like myself, you need that small little break. You need that 90 seconds. You need that 2 minute.
Because the buttons are built in. They're built in for the ad breaks.
Like, and that was one of the things. It's in my notes as sort of like a wait a minute moment. Is that like, wait a minute, I want more ads in my TV. I pay specifically not to get them. What the fuck is happening right now? But I want to keep on talking about this pilot, because one of the things that I think it does a good job of, and a theme that we talk about often with our pilots, is the concept of loneliness, right? The concept of, as you grow older, you don't see your friends as often. They might be across the country as well. And it might not be our why is today different than any other day, but it definitely leads to that of the invitation of all living under one house. And I'm curious for you two, how much that drives you to be like, I'm interested. Let's see how this goes. Or maybe this is like episode 2 driving that conversation.
This is a super clean pilot in the sense that you do get the why is today different from every other day because George died. George was the 4th member of their crew. But you very explicitly and cleanly with, that's sweet, sweet exposition. You get to know why Matt Bomer's there. You get to see why Nathan Lee Graham is there. You get to see why Nathan Lane wants them to stick around. You're like as much of the way this is structured, the way this whole pilot is structured is like IKEA shelving. It's like you're going to do it the same way every time. You build in those 8-minute blocks and then bam, you got your pilot. But here you get everyone's reason to stick around. You get everyone's reason to be in this collective ensemble together, and you know they're going to stay. And that's kind of what feels like also very like nostalgic and warm about this pilot too. It's like they need each other.
Piggybacking off of Rich, I appreciate that Mutchnik and Kohan create a situation where you understand why Nathan Lane is able to have this house in Palm Springs. Explain people's jobs. Give them nice jobs so that we can have nice houses and have nice sets. And then also we give some given circumstances that kind of ground us and sober us a little bit. There's a very, very quick line of we survived the 80s, and it's willing to touch on the AIDS epidemic, and it's something that is human, and it's something that's real, and it's something that's going to really connect these people. And so you understand that like they have shared life experience. These are people who know each other so well that we can have human conversations and like make those real distinctions, and that's important. And they do it just in a quick way. We don't need to talk about it too much in episode 1, but it's there, it's on the table, it exists, and it helps builds the world.
Right. And also I think this did a little bit show the age of the writers' room, because Nathan Lee Graham was in like middle school and high school in the 80s, and Matt Bomer's even younger, so that did like, for me, I was like, oh, I feel like Nathan Lane is the only one who was like a full-fledged adult in the 80s in this entire cast, but suspending disbelief, it's a great point.
Yeah, they did a great job of throwing one line in there. Max, you talked about the exposition of being like, "Oh, you've always looked the same to Matt Bomer." To be
right.
like, "Oh yeah, like Matt's the same age as everyone here." Wink, wink. Like Matt,
the Mormon child bride.
Matt Bomer and Nathan Lane are exactly the same age. They've seen everything together, no question about it.
Ooh, let's talk about that juicy writer tee up of Matt Bomer being a dummy. Ooh, yeah. Man. It is jokes galore at Matt Bomer's expense. Give me all of it. You could have almost an entire episode be just jokes at his expense.
Yeah, the opportunity to make Matt Bomer a himbo is just what a great
beautiful
choice. I want to talk about it a little bit more in things that I loved, but I definitely agree with you, Rich. I think that was such a fun choice because you can't have everyone be sassy, right? You can't.
No.
And I think that we haven't talked about a 4th character in this, and that Linda Lavin is in this pilot, and she's not in it for a ton. She's in it for like the back third of the pilot, but I think she plays probably one of the most important roles in this pilot for grounding, but also some of the wildest jokes I've heard.
Bring back audience applause when we introduce supporting characters for the first time. If you're going to tease a second act reveal of a previously unforeseen character, I expect the audience to lose their minds when we meet that character. I had such a big smile at the reveal of her sitting at the kitchen table and being in her domain. I didn't even need to hear her do anything, and I was drawn to that character. It is a camera cut, it is a posture, and it is a simple line delivery that sells you on it. And it takes a legendary actress to do it. It takes an Emmy and Tony winner to be able to do that. It takes really competent directing to do it. And it takes a lot of trust to be able to do it. And this show does pull off all three of those things.
And very similar to what we were talking about like successful multicams that have been hosted on streamers have that past experience or have that person almost on the set that allows that to be a smooth transition. And almost it is almost like that veteran player on the team to be like, oh, we're going to do this. Like, hey, let me coach you up a little bit on that. Let me tee you up. And some of the lines that they give Linda Lavin are fantastic. They are ones that just based off of her timing of the like, I never had a problem with you because you're black. I had a problem with you because you're a bitch. I was just like, I can't say that often in my life, but I want to say it more because
that
like,
woman started so many Neil Simon plays.
I mean, as far as one of the things that I think is lost in the art of the multicam is it's not just all jokes, and nor is this pilot just all jokes. There are these emotional moments in this pilot, and I talked a little bit about loneliness at the beginning of that, and there is a scene that maybe you can see as forced, maybe you can see as touching between Nathan Lane and his side piece that he is, or his trick, as they call him, that he...
Tricky Ricardo.
Yeah, that he is trying to, that he has sex with. And I'm curious for the two of you, did this seem misplaced for this pilot, or was this a necessary little palate cleanser between our one-liners and our zingers?
There's nothing more sitcom-y than, and I've got a date tonight. That is such a nice sitcom moment. It also felt, because I guess I'm going to save any critique for the wait a minute moments, but it feels the most realistic, in your face gay experience that we get throughout this, because the rest of it is just talk. It's talk, it's performance, it is being in a certain attitude. This, I feel like, really does not allow someone to shy away from, no, these are gay men. This is, this is life as a gay man in Palm Springs. This is what's going to happen. And I do like that they are talking a bit more about, like, they're having a conversation about his profile photos and stuff on the dating app. And it's like, yeah, they're mostly nudes. Yeah, we're not going to shy away from that either. Like, it felt like it was less washed out gay, if that makes sense.
The idea of Antonio as a character and the relationship and romance with Nathan Lane's Bunny and what that does for the group dynamic is actually, I'd say, the thing that made this feel the most like the Golden Girls to me. Because if you remember from that pilot we covered it, the catalyst, the issue, the thing that we have to solve, the antagonistic thing is that there's going to be a wedding that's going to drive apart the group, and then that wedding is called off at the end. And this is kind of the same thing. We have these three people, we have this dynamic, this close friendship, and a wedge is put in it by a new romance, and we have to, I guess, resolve it by breaking up that romance. And I think that's kind of just almost common to, like, I don't want to say, like, the senior experience, but, the adult experience as in general. Like, we want companionship, we want love, and perhaps we can be blinded by it. You have this conflict of, like, man versus man and how your other supporting characters view Antonio, but it's also kind of like man versus self and how Nathan Lane's Buddy views himself and if he can be loved and if he is lovable. And so you have different types of internal conflicts here.
Yeah, I really liked how they approached the, not necessarily like body dysmorphia. I wouldn't say that's what we're thinking about, but it's just like aging in general as a man.
Image.
Yeah, the fact that, like, it's going to be a lot more than a one-night stand before I let you see my tummy is like, wow, that's very relatable. That is like, that's a real feeling that I've had, that people have. Like, that's super, super real. And I feel like we don't talk a lot about aging as men because the aging as women is so stigmatized. Oh my God.
Stigmatized?
Jesus Christ. And
Stigmata
because it Stignataro And because it is so stigmatized for women that it now is on the other side. It's like we gotta make jokes about it. This is the Golden Girls moment of like, oh, this is what happens when men feel self-conscious about themselves when they really see their age.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the resolution to this pilot, right? Because Max, you sort of referenced to it, right? They use this one night stand of sorts to bring the gentlemen together. And before they realize, like, hey, we want to live together, I do want to talk about this. Pairs tennis is sort of what I have this marked down as, because we have two sets of actors playing against each other, but I want to give real great credit to the editors and the writers in this situation, because watch it on Hulu if you're curious, but they do such a good job of going back and forth in these conversations and allowing them to be built out and honored without being just like, oh, one-liner. Instead, it's just, how do people get through this problem? And I was really impressed with it. I'm curious if you guys were as well.
I remember talking about such a similar phenomenon when we covered Will and Grace, and the idea of when you have a quartet, when you have a pilot, the most effective thing you could do is make the audience believe that any different pairing combination is going to work. And what you're talking about, Jeff, I think really highlights that for mid-century modern, in that you have Bunny and his mom at home. You have I'm blanking. You have Arthur and Jerry at the motel by the pool. And I know that between these conversations, I can envision any different coupling having a scene together.
Totally.
And I think that it just shows that these writers know how to do a quartet so well. And we establish just enough that I can envision side plots and storylines involving any mix, any arrangement, and it'll be effective.
And for anyone who potentially might write a sitcom that's listening to this, this is how you give the private moments where the rest of the scene is open and people talking differently in groups than they do one-on-one. It is talking about the other people who are not on screen. And I think they just do this very masterfully.
Well, gentlemen, that is our pilot. I'd love to talk a little bit more about things that you loved about this pilot, things that you would like to give a little bit more time and a little bit more shine. I've been holding something, and I want to talk about it a little bit more. I have recently undergone watching all of White Collar, which stars Matt Bomer in it.
Oh.
And I want to give Matt Bomer so much credit for his performance in this, because the lines that they give him to reveal that, hey, this is a character with depth, this is a character that's experienced a lot of things. He's not just going to be a one-note himbo. There's going to be reveals, and hopefully this is the character that I expect to grow the most over the course of the show, most likely. That's not easy, and I think it's really interesting to see the evolution of Matt Bomer in the early 2010s, being the most handsome man in the world, which he still is, and being this like rizzy, charismatic, but like super witty guy, into this. And it's a performance that really struck me as like, wow, like I can see why Matt Bomer wanted to do this show, and I can also see he's having the time of his life doing this show, and that's so much fun. I love seeing actors when they're like eating it up, and it's like, fuck yeah, you eat. Like, keep on eating until you are so full that you want to puke, and then keep on eating a little bit more. But Max, I'm curious, were there any things that you loved about this pilot?
I loved seeing the amount of repetition in this pilot, especially for doing jokes. I loved seeing Nathan Lane give the line, "It's not home, but it's much," multiple times throughout it. I love that we get multiple dance breaks to "What a Man" and how we kind of bookend the episode with it. It's like the first scene out of the cold open, and then it's our button to close out the episode. These things are effective tricks in your tool belt as a sitcom writer, and it just felt nice to see these old standbys implemented again, and they're still effective.
Yeah.
Rich, what about yourself?
To tack on a little bit to what Jeff was saying about Matt Bomer's acting ability, if you're cast in a sitcom, this is the role you want, because when you play the dum-dum, you're scoring constantly. It is laugh line after laugh line. Look over here at 3:00. Why do I have to look at 3? Why can't I just look right now? I hate the Senate. It is all he's doing. He's Jack McFarland. He's Joey Tribbiani. It is just joke after joke after joke, and I absolutely love it. You also get, I think you get to see Nathan Lane's real acting chops in the very serious moment. In the very serious moments, like when he's explaining why he felt so drawn to Antonio, he grabs Nathan Lee Graham's hand and says, "You got to see Paris for the first time with someone you love." That's a beautiful line. Like, you don't expect that necessarily from a sitcom. You get great moments like that, and just like exceptional work from Nathan Lane. I can watch that man do anything.
Well, gentlemen, I'm curious, are there any wait a minute moments, things that cause you pause, that you wanted to discuss? Rich, you're shaking your head, so I'm going to go right to you.
Yeah, just and it feels a little nitpicky, and I'm so sorry about this. It's not a judgment on the writer's talent or anything like that. We rely a little bit too much on the blank and blank joke structure. So it is like that woman can make it 20 years on cottage cheese and spite. Like, that type of joke structure is now a little bit hacky. Like, I would say 5-10 years ago, fucking go for it. It's unfortunately a little bit past its prime right now. And then we also get one scene where Nathan Lane does 3 of them in a row, which I did not particularly enjoy. It's like, you're like the mountains or Rob Lowe. If we're going to reminisce, I need a soft cheese, a kimono, and some pills. And then right afterwards, just not the room that smells like Nivea and disapproval, that's my mother's. So it's 3 of those dead in a row. And yeah, if I had another one, is that some of the jokes felt like they were kind of written by straight guys or straight people, which I thought was interesting. I'm not going to make assumptions on anyone in the writer's room again, but they did feel a little bit like lowest common denominator written like that. But yeah, other than that, I absolutely love it.
Max, what about yourself?
All right, listen up, Gen Z. This show is for elder millennials and Gen X, and if you're going to nitpick the just like sprinkling of Nathan Lane mildly racist comedy in here, I'm gonna have a bone to pick with you. When we're making fun of people's accents just a little bit, we're making some jokes about Judaism in here. It's fine. Those jokes are ours. They do hit, but I was watching like, oh, these do feel like a little like 90s sitcom jokes in a way to watch it back in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a super interesting, there was this really funny skit that came out right after the election where someone was like, all right, we need to somehow reach out to the millennial white male and figure out how they can vote Democrats. And he's like, I want my jokes back. I want Louis C.K. back. I want to be able to like. And right. It was one of those things where I heard the Jewish joke and I was just like, oh, what a dear friend that I've missed so long that we can say this on TV again, and it doesn't have to be just the most Jewish person in the world or a Jewish comedy to be able to say that.
In fact, Nathan Lane is not Jewish. I just looked that up, which was surprising.
And Nathan, you know what? Come on over. We're having a great time.
Just imagine this and the Tim Allen multicam back to back at ABC, like really both sides of the aisle there.
Yeah, and I already spoke a little bit about my wait a minute moment, but I wanted ads in this so damn badly. I wanted just like a small, give me 30 seconds. Like,
but you get the little Frasier like doodling.
Yeah, I understand that, but I need that little tiny break so I can take like a breath and then like be like, all right, we're back in.
Someone sell Jeff tortilla chips after Act 2.
Well, this week we have no in-flight questions, but we got an in-flight voicemail.
This is where we do our ad break.
We'll talk a little bit more about how to submit those and how you can submit suggestions for the show, maybe for our next episode. Let's talk a little bit about the history of this show. This show has currently 1 season and 10 episodes. All of them have been released in the U.S. on Hulu. And if you're international, bonjour, welcome to the pod. And also, you can find them on Disney Plus. I don't think we're doing the history of the show justice if we don't talk a little bit about Linda Lavin. Linda Lavin actually passed very recently. She passed on December 29th of 2024 after the filming of this show. Obviously a absolute legend within the TV world. And it was really nice to see her on screen and see that she got something like this to be able to do. As far as viewership goes for this show, it was actually the 10th most streamed thing on the internet on its opening weekend.
Shit.
Which is wild.
That's amazing.
It's really cool. As far as renewal, this literally just came out, y'all. Like this came out really, really just a little bit ago. And because they chose to release it all at once, it's going to be a little bit harder to determine whether or not they will renew it or not. But I will say there were a lot of I decided to read just like, what did people think of this? Like, let's go into the trades and read about it. And people are dying over this. People love this show. And there's a lot of really great opinions of it. So JW, if you're listening, you are not alone. But yeah,
certainly not alone here.
That is hopefully the ongoing history of this show. Rich, it is time for your game of the week.
All right, let's do a little bit of Palm Springs trivia. I'm not going to learn about Fort Lauderdale, so I'm glad they didn't move it about. I'm glad they moved it out there. All right, so you probably know that Palm Springs is the date capital of the U.S., and no, not the one with Antonio. Obviously, date the fruit. What percentage of the nation's dates are grown in the greater Palm Springs area? Is it A, 30%, B, 50%, C, 60%, D, 80%?
60 sounds like a good number, so I'm going to choose that.
I'm going to raise the stakes. I'm saying 80%.
Max is dead on. It is 80% of the entire USA's date crop is grown in the Palm Springs area.
Give me some dates.
And for our LA listeners, if you're driving out to Palm Springs, stop at Hadley's Fruit Orchard to get a date milkshake. It'll change your life.
Hell yeah.
That sounds great.
Highly recommend. All right, the last question. A member of this comedy act once reached an insane level of local notoriety after they famously played golf naked at a Palm Springs country club. Were they a member of A, the Three Stooges, B, the Marx Brothers, C, Martin and Lewis, D, Abbott and Costello?
I'm going to say B, the Marx Brothers.
I'm going to say D, Abbott and Costello.
It was Harpo Marx himself, played golf in the buff in Rancho Mirage, baby.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for that game of the week. Gentlemen, our flight is coming to a land, but before we go, I have 2 questions for you. And one, we watched the pilot. It felt like a warm hug to some. Maybe it didn't feel like a warm hug to you. Would you continue watching the show based off of the pilot and the pilot alone? And the second one is, this was a multicam. We haven't done many modern multicams because many of them don't exist. So I'm curious, does this show want you to have a few more multicams, both on network and streaming, available to you? So, Rich, I'm going to have you kick us off.
I am absolutely watching more of this show, and I have before we even knew that we were going to do this. I actually started watching this show.
Time.
That's right. Yeah, if you're listening to this, highly recommend you watch this show. I mean, you get clearly they put a lot. There's a lot of people who want to be part of this. In addition to Linda Lavin, you have guest stars like Vanessa Bayer, Sherry O'Terry is in this. Richard Kind gets an episode.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse Tyler Ferguson is a recurring on this, in addition to Vanessa Bayer. Just highly recommend you give this a go. I am not done with the season yet. I'm excited to see where it goes. But boy, this is the warm hug of warm hugs. If you're asking if I want more multicam sitcoms, I don't think this necessarily means that we should. I'm glad that they took the shot. I'm happy to watch this. it would be a case-by-case basis on this. Like, I would not want to see the airwaves flooded with multicam again. But God, this is what an all-star cast, what an all-star like producing team, what an all-star acting team. I mean, just excellent work.
Max?
Yeah, I would definitely keep watching this in a world of feeling like you have to be so caught up to date on things to not have shows spoiled for you. It's nice to watch something that feels a little irreverent and that I could just pick up as I go, and I want to tune in, but I could do so at my own pace, and just to have the clip of jokes that this does.
Yeah.
Should there be more multicams? I don't know. I want to say yes because I have fun watching them, but it also feels like a dying art form, kind of like how no young people want to be plumbers anymore. Like, I don't know if there's people out there that can actually properly write a multicam sitcom. It might just be the elder statesmen who do it, and then when they all die, we just say, oh, remember multicams? Like that thing we used to do, kind of like the Follies. But if there are people who could do it and can pay homage and do it well, these shows are also shot on backlots. They keep jobs in LA. They keep people employed, and union workers and people in the creative fields. So I'm not going to say no to things that keep the backlots moving.
Damn right.
Yeah, and for myself, I'm definitely watching more of this. I think this is very easy watching. I wouldn't call it smooth brain TV because that requires a lot more explosions. But I would say that this show definitely does feel nice to watch. It does feel great to have all of these jokes and see people having fun. Making TV is one of the greatest things. Seeing people truly perform to an audience, I think, is one of the things that I love about a multicam. It's the closest thing we see on TV to the stage, and that is really, really fun. As far as more multicams, after giving that wonderful endorsement for them, be choosy of them. Just because you see a street vendor selling hot dogs doesn't mean you have to eat every hot dog you see.
Yes, you do. That's the most divisive thing you've ever said on this podcast.
Gracie Abrams, you're next. But as far
shit.
as
That was threatening.
But no, in all honesty,
man.
I think that there is something to be said about the idea of picking things when they have a good team behind them and they have the right actors signed on and the right director signed on to doing that. This is a rare one. I'd like to see more rare ones be found, but first let's see how this one does. Because I'm sure we'll be waiting on pins and needles to see what Hulu decides to do. Well, gentlemen, that is our flight. But before we go, I want to make sure that folks can find you wherever you are. Rich, where can folks find you?
You can find me hating the Senate, and you can also find me on Instagram at Damn That's Rich. You can find original sketch comedy from Max and myself on on TikTok. Well, I guess also Instagram at Dadwagon Comedy.
Max?
Oh, you can find me enjoying a nice meal of cottage cheese and spite, and on all things social media at Maxwell Singh.
And you can see me passing by hot dog stands and saying, "Oh, wait." But if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at Run Jeff Run. If you're looking for the TV Pilots License, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also watch our smiling faces on YouTube and follow us at TV Pilots License on almost all social media platforms available to you. If you're
Watch your back, Snapchat.
Oh my God. If you have a question for the show, or maybe a suggestion for our next episode, you can submit those a variety of ways, including tvpilotslicense.com, or giving us a call, leaving us a voicemail, or shooting us a text message at 213-290-1713. Make sure to watch out for sneak peeks of some of the stuff that we have coming up. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave reviews wherever you follow us. It helps the show so much.
Please do this. This
we
is great.
Just reached over 200 subscribers on YouTube, and we're really going for 150 plus on Spotify. Some
10,000 streams on
10,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
You dummies listen to us 10,000 times. Wait till the next 10,000.
Yeah, insult him, Jeff. Do it.
Yeah. You're too dumb to listen to us more. That's right.
It's a whole network of Matt Bomers.
But with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you soon. But until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your finger on the dial.
What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. Say it again.